My name's Dr. Nancy Moran. I'm an Associate Professor of Pediatrics at Baylor College of Medicine, and I am a research scientist focused on children's and family nutrition in the USDA ARS Children's Nutrition Research Center. And I'm talking with you today about my experience as being a mentor for the SOAR program, and I'm joined here by my mentee for the SOAR program, Anna Norman. I got involved with the SOAR program because I'm really committed to training the next generation of scientists and physicians who are able to use science as part of their daily practice and also do some of their own research to support the best biomedical care and nutrition care that we can give children and families.
Yeah, and my name's Anna Norman. I'm a third-year medical student at Baylor College of Medicine. I've had the opportunity to work with Dr. Moran in her lab. We recently published a paper investigating the associations between single nucleotide polymorphisms in humans and concentrations of carotenoids in human skin. It's been a really wonderful opportunity to work with Dr. Moran, so I appreciate SOAR for opening that opportunity up for me.
Anna, what got you involved with the SOAR program to start with?
Coming into med school, everyone tells you you need to do research, but it can be intimidating to find a mentor and somebody that you can connect with well. So I was kind of browsing the SOAR database, which we had kind of been taught a little bit about during orientation, and I saw that you were doing nutrition research. We were originally working on carotenoids in pregnant participants, and I just thought, oh well, nutrition is really important for all areas of medicine, and I wanted to learn a little bit more, so it ended up being a project that really suited my interests, I think.
Yeah, so when you first reached out to me, I had a project listed on the SOAR database that was all about studying the role of some bioactive phytochemicals, which are just colorful compounds found in fruits and vegetables called carotenoids. We wanted to learn more about what those carotenoids do during pregnancy to help support a healthy pregnancy. So you found our project description for that, which was at the time recruiting. So we got you involved with that project. But when you first came to visit with me and we talked about ideas for projects, you also told me that as an undergraduate researcher, you had done some cancer genetics research. And at the time, I also had another genetics project going on in our lab where we were trying to learn about how genetic variation between people can change their responses to nutrition. That's an important question to answer if we want to move forward with the concept of precision nutrition. So while you were learning about what was involved with our pregnancy nutrition research study that we were doing, we were also able to involve you with analyzing some data we had already collected on genetic variation and nutrition. We were able to kind of work with you on a new research experience and then also build off of your prior genetics research experience, which was exciting for me as a mentor.
I had never written a manuscript before, and you were so kind to guide me through that process and teach me a lot of skills which have been helpful time and time again throughout the rest of medical school. So that experience was really invaluable for me, learning how to set everything up, just the entire process of publication, managing all of your data, working with a team to write a paper. How has the experience been for you with working with students?
Oh, it's been awesome. I'm so proud of everything you and the other med students have done in the lab. One of my goals for everybody to learn, well, first of all, is to assess where they are, but then also build from their existing experience. So you already had great basic bench science or laboratory skills, but we talked about how you wanted to learn how to write a paper. So I was able to mentor you with actually finding existing literature that could help us interpret the results that we were finding, and I was so impressed with what a wonderful writer and researcher you were too. You really pulled together lots of new information and created sort of a new interpretation of our data, which really made the research even stronger. And then I was really proud that you also presented your results at several different conferences and symposia, including the American Society for Nutrition Annual. So I was so proud, and you even won an award for giving an outstanding poster presentation. So that's really exciting that you were able to take that opportunity all the way up to the national level and win an award for your research.
It's just been so interesting to get involved in kind of a niche field of research where now I feel like I get to be an expert in this one area of human nutrition, and being able to communicate that information to other people at that national conference, I think, was the next step in kind of being like a physician scientist and being somebody who's very knowledgeable about research. So it was a super valuable experience.
Oh, great. So were there any moments that were either really positive or really challenging that kind of helped you grow during that experience?
Yeah, I think I had never worked with the type of statistical analysis that we were doing with that paper, and thankfully we had a co-author to help us. But it really strengthened it was initially tough, but it strengthened my ability to deal with large data sets, with complex like statistical analyses, and make sense of all of that in a way that would be meaningful to other people whenever we wrote up the results. Although it was challenging, I'm very grateful for the experience to kind of handle that data. And then of course, just as I mentioned, learning how to share those findings with other people in a way that would be meaningful, because it is specific research. But yeah, in the end, super meaningful, super worth it. What has been some of the strengths and challenges for you?
I think the challenge is just usually that med students are very busy, and we are also very busy, so we just have to do a lot of being organized and making sure that we kind of set a regular schedule of when we meet with each other. But once we got into that groove, I think everything else went great. You always kept up with your own personal deadlines and goals so that we got the project to kind of run on time the best we could. One of the really exciting things to me was also that you were able to work with some of my collaborators at a different institution. So the data that we were analyzing was actually collected by my collaborators at the USDA Human Nutrition Research Center in Grand Forks, North Dakota. So that was also, I think, an exciting training experience for you to learn how do we collaborate with other scientists at other institutions, how do we kind of manage the communication and teamwork that's needed. And science really is teamwork for sure. So I was glad you got to see how we all had our different contributions for that project.
Yes, and then I got to meet a lot of those team members whenever we went to that conference. That was very exciting. And now I have those connections for, future research, for future projects, and that is super valuable as a student.
How do you feel like participating in the SOAR research program has kind of impacted or informed your career trajectory, or has it opened up any new kind of possibilities for you that you didn't know were there before?
Yeah, absolutely. I think whenever I started the project, I was very open to exploring lots of different career possibilities. And now that I am further along in medical school and I kind of know that I'm pursuing the field of neurology, I think that all of the information about human nutrition and community nutrition that we've talked about in these projects has made me realize what an integral part of health that is for my patients going into the future. Also, I think just the research that we did, it was kind of the first project that I got involved in medical school, and then I continued to be involved in lots of other research projects, some in the field of nutrition and some not, some in neurology or other fields. And I think that what we worked on in your lab really laid the foundation for me being competent and confident going forward in all of those other projects. Definitely, I think it expanded my horizons in that way.
Good, and I hope you also kind of gained an understanding of how the scientific process really unfolds in real life when we're using that process to try to answer questions and expand what we know. And you'll be able to use that scientific process both in medicine and maybe in your own future research someday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, given like how wonderful of a mentor you were to me, what is your approach for mentoring medical students in general?
Yeah, so I think focusing on what their experience has been to date, talking with them about what their goals are for their experience, and maybe even if they have some ideas of exactly what they want to do eventually in their career. And then I try to focus on experiences that are going to be really useful or informative for them in their career. So some of the really important things I think are really learning to carefully read scientific literature and interpret it. Learning, like you mentioned before, how statistical analyses are done, how we design studies to test hypotheses. I think those are all really important fundamental skills, which even though sometimes it sounds like something we may have learned before, it's different when you have to write your own research publication, and that really helps you to grow. That's kind of my main goals for mentoring, and then getting everybody comfortable with talking about research results with other stakeholders. Anna, would you recommend the SOAR program to other med students?
Absolutely. You know, kind of like I mentioned, this has been a super meaningful experience to me, and I really appreciate the way that the SOAR database allowed me to kind of explore different research options that were open to me and have an idea about what kind of research you were doing before I reached out. I could review some of your papers before we talked, and I think that that's really helpful in knowing, you know, what kind of experience you might end up having. Most of the time, people who list their projects are mentors who are really committed to helping students. So it's a great way to find a mentor that you're going to connect with and that's going to be really helpful for you. So yeah, I recommend it to any student who's looking to get involved with research.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend that mentors and faculty at Baylor College of Medicine consider participating in the SOAR program. I think that our med students are smartest. They know a lot, they're very curious, and you showed us you're a wonderful team member and really represented the lab really well, and it was so exciting to see your growth through the project. Anna, it's been awesome having you be part of our lab for your SOAR project the past few years. I'm so glad you found us and that we were able to be part of your medical training experience.
Thank you so much for all of the wonderful mentorship that you've provided for me and all the opportunities and research that we've shared together. It is something that is going to affect me for the rest of my career as a doctor.
You're welcome.